morning, everybody. Welcome to our Monday morning meditation today. So nice to have you all here. Oh my goodness, what a Monday. So I had the privilege of attending a retreat this weekend, and of our 3 days, 24 hours of that was silent. We spent it in silence. We gathered together in the morning and had a meditation time together. And then we had no phones, no computers, no talking, and for 24 hours. And it was wonderful in many ways and very difficult in many ways also, as you can imagine. I highly recommend that, by the way. And one of the things that I noticed during my experience of the silent time was that I would come in and out of my mind being quiet or busy. And I also had things that came up to process during that time, which, when you think, well, I'm supposed to be quiet, right? Why am I having things to process? But we know that when we're quiet, when we're meditating, we're noticing our mind. And, during our daily meditation practice, we want to be practicing quieting the mind and watching how it gets distracted and bringing it back to a quiet place. But sometimes when our mind isn't cooperating with that, there's something for us to see. And when we're looking at those repeated thoughts that come up, it's because there's something there to look at, to be healed, to be released. And if we can notice that and sit with it, then it can work its way through with our attention on it. Sometimes when we have physical pain, we feel that if we put our attention on it, maybe the pain is still there, but our mind suffering around the pain is reduced. And therefore, the pain in and of itself is reduced, even if we're noticing more acutely than we try to be distracted from it usually. Anyway, all that said, one of the things that came up to share with you today about this quiet time is a movie I saw years ago. It's a documentary called The Dhamma Brothers. And I'm actually going to put that in the chat. And for our recording, I will add that to our description for it too. And I'm putting a link to a video for it as well. So it is a wonderful documentary about a program in a high security prison in Alabama, where they took this program called Vipassana meditation, which is basically breath, watching the breath. And it's a 10-day program. And they allowed, I don't remember how many, 14, I don't know, of the prisoners to participate in this program as part of their therapy that they were receiving in prison. And this is 10 days of instruction about the meditation, and the rest of it is silent. They ate in silence, they slept in silence, they sat all day in silence, watching their breath. And the documentary is about the experience of a few of those people who were in that program. And it's very, very powerful. And what happened was, because they were supported in sitting with themselves, they had the opportunity to look at why they were there and to process their feelings about it and get real with themselves, basically. And the shame that they carried and the guilt, the anger, and whatever else that they were experiencing during that time was able to come up and be released. And for some people, that was a huge healing for them and brought a lasting change of consciousness, change of their state of mind. And for others, it was just very difficult, and it maybe didn't have quite that same effect, but it still impacted them in their healing process. And I highly recommend it. And I have the DVD. Do you remember those? Do you remember what those are? DVDs. And the DVD has some wonderful outtakes on it. So the movie documentary itself is fantastic, but the outtakes are really powerful as well. And, just kind of extra scenes that they weren't able to, um, put in the documentary. But I highly recommend that. And just what a wonderful opportunity for us to talk about that. And as we prepare for our meditation time together today, just sitting and being with ourselves, being with our breath like we do, and knowing that sitting with ourselves can bring up uncomfortable feelings. And if we just sit with them and let them be without judgment, then they pass. But not only do they pass, sometimes they just pass and they're gone. Sometimes they pass and then they come up again and they pass. And there's just a lot to unravel in that. And if we can just let it be, then we are supporting that healing process, because our mind body system knows how to heal those things. And sometimes it needs our attention in order to do it. It doesn't just heal. Like if we scratch ourselves, our skin knows how to heal itself. Our bodies know how to heal itself. But our emotions need a little bit more conscious attention and awareness and support to heal. So when we put our light of our attention on whatever's going on in and through us, not jumping into it, not saying, oh, I've got this feeling coming up. Let me think about it. Let me analyze it. Let me process it. But we just let it come up and go and come up and go and come up and go for however long it takes. Then we are letting the body release whatever storage is there. Maybe there's an insight. Maybe there's more journaling work to do. Every situation is going to be different that comes up, but our job is to just observe it, just watch it, not touch it. So we can watch our breath and allow those things to come up and pass. We're just going to practice that in our meditation time today. So I invite you to get comfortable in your chair, your couch, your bed, wherever you're sitting. And take a couple of deep breaths to let your mind-body system know that it's time to be still, time to switch gears from thinking, doing, getting, to just being. And notice your breath returning to its natural pace. We're going to support that relaxation process by noticing that as we're breathing in and out, we're doing that from our diaphragm rather than pulling that air in from the chest muscles, the ribs. And we can use our heart math, quick breath, breathing into the count of 4, breathing out to the count of 4. Breathing into the count of 4, breathing out to the count of 4 at your own pace. And part of this quick breath that I like to add is Just picturing the top of your heart, the top of your physical heart. I like to put my finger there where it would be in my mind anyway. It doesn't have to be exact, but just to help my attention focus there. It's like you're just sitting on the top of that heart. As it does its thing, as our breath comes into the count of 4 and comes out to the count of 4. Our attention is right there in the heart space. And you might notice that your thoughts are everywhere. It's okay. We're doing this. As we continue with that breath, the body is calmer and calmer, but it can take time sometimes. As the body settles in, the mind follows. It might be helpful to give your mind permission to let go of all this. The mind can pick them up when we're done. For now, we're just letting them go. Turning off that inner chatter. Just let your breath sit, comes in and out. Let that be the sound that your mind focuses on instead of the chatter, the mind. If there's something in particular, person or situation that is occupying your mind, it's a body issue, emotional, something that's grabbing your attention, just let it be. Let it be. No need to try to push it away. Just notice it. Like you're watching it on a TV screen, not knowing what's happening next, not having any control of what's happening next, just watching it play out. But your presence is still in yourself, your breath, the purge space. Notice if your mind jumps into that situation. Just notice, be aware of how that affects your body, how it affects your presence. That's good information. And then just help yourself step back out and just watch your breath. It takes practice to be able to be that observer of any emotions, what's coming up, and being detached from those. My teacher calls it being the observer self, where we are in that presence of our inner awareness. We are with our breath, with our center, being able to watch any thoughts that come up, to watch any emotions come up, any situations that we feel troubling, to watch them from that distance. Like we're watching it on TV, or like we're hearing a friend tell us the story, fully removed from it. experience to be able to observe those thoughts, emotions, situations, without getting into the mind trying to fix them. Just watching. It's okay to maybe say, I have no idea. I don't know what to do with this. I don't have to know. Just let it. Let it be. Feel like it goes counter to our training, to our education, to not fix it or not solve it. If we stay with the experience of just watching it, we may see a completely different solution come up from within us. And if nothing else, we're releasing the emotion around the situation, which will in and of itself help us think more clearly about it. And it's time to solve something. But more often than not, what's going on inside of us is just the result of imagination in the form of worry, making something a problem that isn't a problem. So 90% of what is. Be aware of your breath. You probably noticed that you didn't have to count after a while. It's just coming in and out at a steady rhythm on its own. Happens when mind-body system is in sync with itself. You can continue with your meditation time, just being with that breath, being detached from thoughts or feelings coming up. I invite you to do so. You need to go about your day. Take a couple of deep breaths. Let your mind-body system know that you're switching gears back into activity, to the presence of your room around you. And either way, whether you're meditating longer or going about your day, I invite you to watch that documentary if you have time. Notice that healing that takes place in these beautiful souls who are looking at themselves so deeply. And when I first saw it, they can do that for themselves. I can do that for mine. And I also invite you to take with you this week that concept. Maybe it's new, maybe it's not new to you, but just that thought that 90% of what's going on in our minds is just made up. It's completely our imagination. So if we weren't doing that, what could we be doing instead? How present in the moment could we be? How much better listeners on the inside and outside we could be ourselves for others. The mind isn't used to that, so definitely takes practice. But anyway, I invite you to practice with that this week. Thank you for being here. Have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you next Monday. Bye for now.